security.
Yes.
That's what
Lone Star
is.
Right.
Lone Star essentially is Blackwater.
Right.
You know?
That's what I
Man,
meant. Lone Star. Not
wow.
Night
See,
Area.
the more we dig into this, the more it's just like, holy crap.
So
Yeah,
now all we need is
really
Dock Wagon.
privatized healthcare.
Yeah, that comes toting guns.
Because in Shadowrun,
They come get you.
there is regular
EMTs.
regular healthcare, and then there's privatized healthcare where you go to a dock wagon hospital,
You get right in.
you get right in,
Well-
you get top notch treatment.
And they don't call the cops because you've been shot.
Well, it
I think
depends
you
on
gotta
the
pay
level-
extra for
Depends
that.
on the level of your contract, but yes. But I could totally see that happening.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, with the government taking over healthcare and things like that, I could totally see the private sector saying, you know what, I don't want to go to the same hospital that crack whore and junkie 4 go to. I want to go to a top notch hospital that I'll pay a annual fee or almost like a country club, so that way
Right.
I can go there and be treated by
And implant your cyberware.
and implant my cyborg.
All right, let's done. I'm sold.
So I guess we need to. Well, I know our characters in Shadowrun. Anytime we kill somebody that's got lots of cyberware, we stick them in a freezer until we can have that stuff taken out.
It's because you're horrible human beings.
That's just economics, Dan.
Is it really?
It's recycling.
It's
Dan.
recycling.
He's
That's
cheap.
right.
He's just cheap.
Shadowrunners. What are today's Shadowrunners? Who might be tomorrow's Shadowrunners?
Who are today's Shadowrunners and who might be tomorr's?
Is
Today
this
or tomorrow?
a rhetorical question? You have the answer for
So
me?
you're
Yeah, I
saying-
actually do have an answer.
Okay, all right.
freelance
Criminals.
corporate espionage.
Who's doing the corporate espionage right now?
Russians, Chinese, hackers.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
Yeah.
corporate espionage is this and has existed for quite some time.
Well, I think that's just governments messing with each other. I'm talking about anonymous.
good call.
Oh yeah.
Let's not link back to those guys either.
Well, yeah, but
No, those are good guys.
no.
Oh, I know they're great. They're
those
awesome.
guys, those guys. If you look at old Shadowrun books and things like that, that's exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
The
was
Shadow Network. Or
ShadowNet,
whatever.
yes, and it was Captain Chaos and
Fast
Fast
Jack.
Jack and
Right.
everything like that. It was a message board.
Now they call them dark nets.
Dark nets.
It's the network that is not the internet. It's,
Acid Burn, Zero Cool,
that's right.
those guys.
For the win.
Data.
Those are
it
real
was all
people?
about stealing data.
Oh, that was the hackers. Oh, the movie.
Dude, that movie rocks. I love that movie.
WikiLeaks. Shadowrun's all about data.
Releasing
Information is power.
It's just not to the point where we've got 5 or 6 armed thugs dressing up like a window cleaning crew, busting in the door, shooting a security guard and a secretary.
I think it's probably because it really wouldn't work that well. You know?
Yeah, they're a lot less guns ablazing. Maybe that's just the way we play.
I know. I know that's the way we play because
I'm suddenly reminded
Zero
of
body
Boondock
count
Saints.
is not an option.
because realistically, we wouldn't also then on the way to the run get into a firefight with a go gang, which that's a bad idea. You don't want to start shooting at the Hell's Angels.
And then, but on the flip side, and what frequently happens in our Shadowruns is right in the middle of it, you go through a fast food restaurant.
Yes.
to get a gun.
To get a gun.
Which you can do.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I'm sure that happens
yeah.
in Texas all the time.
Oh, when I went down to Texas one year for CPL.
CPL.
Can't remember what the acronym says, but it's like Computer Professional League or something like that. It was we went down there to play TFC.
DFC.
Team Fortress Classic. Half-Life Team Fortress Classic.
I only say that because there are probably 1 or 2 people who don't know what you're talking about.
It's,
One at this
it's
table.
like Gen Con, but
Right
for
here.
computer gaming.
Okay.
And you basically go and you link up your computer and play network games for a few days. But anyway, you stay in the...
That was the place you ended up ass up in the bathroom.
I was not ass up.
Whoa.
Okay.
What? That was John's house.
Oh.
Good God. It's a bike rack. Oh.
There it is.
That's the party where I don't know how I got back to my room.
We didn't mention Blade Runner.
Anyway.
Off that.
I want to tell my story.
Oh, man.
Mark's talking.
You keep interrupting me, but you keep tangenting me.
Stop interrupting Mark.
I don't want to hear about ass high.
Eric brought that up. I was telling a totally different story. We were at the Hyatt Regency. Out the front of the hotel was, Dallas. Nice Dallas, shops, restaurants, everything. Out our window, which was at the back of the hotel, you'd have to go under an overpass to get to the liquor store and like 4 bail bondsmen. And it was all like right there in one little plaza. That's how it is down there.
Monofilament whips.
Monofilament whips.
Oh,
yeah, I don't see those happening.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's just a bad idea.
Right.
I mean, really.
It's definitely a bad idea.
That ranks up there with lightsabers.
How about
smart.
monoswords?
Mono sword, maybe.
I mean, I can see where you would have a knife that would be molecularly sharp on the molecular level. That's probably possible.
That'd be a pain in the butt to keep sharp, though.
Well, a thin edge will cut through things, but you're not going to be able to really defend
Yeah,
yourself.
but wouldn't it have something to do with electricity, though? It would keep a power source through there that
Turn
would
it
actually,
on and it would
actually do the
Chain
cutting.
sword.
Chainsword, yeah. But you know what you would do with a mono-edged anything? All you do is cut paper in front of your friends with it. Check this out.
And then
How
this.
about
Watch me shave the hair on my arm.
Smart Link?
I was going to say Smart Link.
Smart Links, I like that.
I'd love to have a
Now, don't
Smart
they?
Link on my shotgun when I'm out in the woods.
Or
Well,
a tree
here's the
stand
thing.
where you don't have to move it all.
I sit on the ground.
A
Thank you.
smart link, how is that any different than just a guy wired into his computer? If you can use a computer to fire off an electrically charged rifle, why can't you just use that hooks up to your palm, that hooks up to the handle, and you just think about shooting it and it goes off?
That's true. That's the same thing.
You mean for quadriplegic?
Yeah.
Quadriplegic soldiers.
No, quadriplegic hunters.
Yeah.
Quadriplegic hunters, yes.
Yeah. So if he couldn't actually have the muscle skill to pull a trigger, he could do that, where he could actually just have the motion of holding it up in front of
Would
him.
that be the next stage past crossbow? Because if you can't
Yeah.
pull a regular bow, you get a crossbow. If you can't do
Right.
that, then you get a smart gun.
Right. You get a smart gun link.
I like it.
That's a big leap.
It's a big leap.
A couple thousand years of technology just leapfrog.
It's
But,
all there, though.
We were talking about the advancements in prosthetics, things like that. There's going to be a point where, losing a limb isn't grounds for medical discharge from the military.
Right. Well, there are guys now that are arguing to stay in, even with a prosthetic.
And Sean's
In
smart
World War
gun
One, there
link,
were guys who flew with prosthetics.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
but the smart gun link, think about it. Now you wouldn't even have to be, you could be quadriplegic.
It'd be
and
good for like a
soldier.
tank operator.
Yeah. You
Well,
could be-
and
You could work with some of these drones they got going.
right, there are more robotic drones, tracked drones that they're putting on the battlefield, and not just necessarily for combat purposes, but also to ferry wounded back.
Very wounded back.
Yeah, why couldn't
supplies
you take
forward.
the handicapped person and keep him in a secure location so there's no need pulling him out if the shit hits the fan, so say. He can control that from a secure location,
hell,
and he's
dude,
still combat effective.
They're doing that stateside.
Yeah, I know.
They got the pencil neck geeks like us doing that stuff. Am I not right? I mean, most of the drones we've got going right now
Drone
are
riggers.
Drone
exactly
riggers.
drone
Yeah,
riggers. I mean,
riggers.
it's not to the point where they're jacking in brain wise, but that's probably around
it's
the corner,
close.
right?
It's close.
That couldn't be too far off.
So I think, now that we've had this discussion, I think we're a lot closer than we thought.
Yeah,
You
I'm sure we are. We thought of a lot of examples.
I mean, I know when we first started playing Shadowrun, all this stuff was fantastical and ridiculous, and there's
Right.
no way any of this stuff's going to happen. And
Right.
and slowly over the last 20 years, boom, 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 stuff happens.
Yeah. And to tie it to what we were talking about when we first started this discussion, it's the focus group of these stories and these movies, books, games are growing up, and they're making the things that
Right.
they liked.
Right.
I mean, that's the main thing about it. You really like Shadowrun and you want it to be real, make it real. Come up with something.
That's why nostalgia. Ooh,
Simpsons
Simpsons.
would be the bane of human existence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That would be the porn industry.
I think it was.
Yeah, between Simpsons, Mass Effect, and porn, I'd never leave my house.
What about what was
Simpsons would be porn, sir.
what was the other one? Skill wires? Was it called Skill wires?
Where you plug skill softs.
Skill softs. That's it.
Yeah, where you
Ooh,
plug
I'm
in skills.
Give me some skills.
Yeah. Ooh, I know. Now I know.
Man, that's
Kung
totally
Fu.
going to screw
Right.
up the job market.
That's an active soft.
That would be an active soft. Yes, I know kung fu.
Yeah, like the Matrix.
Show me.
But what Eric said, that's why nostalgia is important, Dan.
It's inspiration. I don't
That's
know if it's-
nostalgia.
But not reliving the past is what he's saying.
I don't.
All right. Well, I think we've overstayed our welcome. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Please, nobody be offended. There's going to be a hatchet job on this.
All
I
right.
have a feeling all but two of my comments are going to be
All
on
but two.
Just cut all Mark
My
out.
name is Melky Markopoulos. That's all we're keeping.
You really started out on a high note on that one.
You swung for the fences at the beginning, sir.
Follow us on Twitter. We're at Gamers Table.
Like us on Facebook.
Listen to us on iTunes.
Or on Stitcher.
Got a question you want read during the show? Send us an email at feedback@gamerstable.com or leave us a voicemail at 559-546-1231. Check out some other great shows affiliated with us at rpgcrosstalk.webs.com.
You have been listening to Gamers Table, registered trademark Side Tangent Productions. Visit us at gamerstable.com. Products and intellectual properties discussed during this podcast are the properties of their respective owners. This product is for entertainment purposes only. Any commercial broadcast is prohibited without written consent from Side Tangent Productions.